In this mission, you will be training on the TIE Bomber, focusing primarily on anti-capital combat and gaining an understanding of the different ordnance types available to you. The TIE Bomber has 2 heavy-grade, long-range laser cannons and 2 warhead launchers along with ample storage capacity for carrying heavy ordnance such as proton torpedoes. It also features an armoured hull, but still lacks shields. It is however quite slow, putting it at a distinct disadvantage in any dogfight. That said, with its lasers able to reach up to 3 kilometers away, you can at least easily outrange most opponents, allowing you the advantage in a head-to-head engagement. You will be first tasked with destroying some stationary freighters, allowing you to gain an understanding of heavy ordnance capabilities combined with the use of your heavy lasers. Next, you will be taught the basics of capital ship combat when trying to destroy a convoy escorted by a hostile corvette. Topics will include Starship Point defense capabilities and how to defeat them. You will then continue to engage progressively heavier starships that can also come with fighter escort, forcing you to adapt what you've learnt in previous training missions when flying a ship not designed for dogfighting. You will be later reinforced during the mission with additional TIE Bomber wingmen under your command. A reload craft will also be made available to rearm your ship in the field. If you want to skip this tutorial mission, please start the mission, then immediately quit once you're in the hangar. You can then press the skip mission button in the debriefing screen to continue forwards.
Welcome pilots to your TIE Bomber training. Today we will be learning about the intricacies of fighting capital ships using heavy ordnance. If you are already familiar with these mechanics, feel free to exit the simulator now and select the skip mission button on the debriefing screen. The TIE Bomber is the Imperial Navy's primary strike craft against large and relatively slow-moving or stationary targets such as capital ships and stations. It is more heavily armoured and comes with an additional compartment entirely dedicated to 2 warhead launchers and storage for their ordnance. Depending on the strike mission, this may be concussion missiles, proton torpedoes, heavy rockets, or even high-yield bombs. For this mission, you have been armed with 16 proton torpedoes. Several stationary freighters have entered the area, so use your torpedoes to destroy them. Press the W key to select your warhead system and target one of the freighters. You will hear a beeping sound, and your reticule will slowly change color until you hear a solid tone and a red indicator to indicate that you have a solid lock on your target. You may then fire your torpedoes. Bear in mind your typical maximum warhead lock range for freighters, capital ships and stations is 6 kilometers, whilst fighters can only be locked at 2.5 kilometer ranges. Be mindful about getting too close to exploding ships and ordnance, as you can be easily damaged or destroyed by the splash damage caused by large explosions, and your unshielded craft will not do well in such situations. Well done. Whilst the bomber has a large quantity of ordnance available, and it is occasionally possible to reload during the mission, it is important to gain an understanding of what kind of damage your warheads will do to a target. The launchers will empty your magazine very quickly with the fire button held down, and every warhead beyond what is needed to destroy the target is a warhead that could be used to good effect on a different target. Finishing off heavily damaged targets with your lasers is an excellent way to conserve your resources and deal greater overall damage. This also gives you a good opportunity to see just how hard they can hit. Let's give this a try now. Several more freighters have arrived. destroy them as you did previously, but instead try using your lasers to save on ordnance. As you can see, the bomber's lasers can pack quite a punch, and unlike the interceptor, it's not reliant on its speed to deliver that punch, boasting much greater range and high damage for use against the bomber's primary targets. However, they do suffer from very low fire rates and speed. All this adds up to a heavy weapons platform that has the downside of being noticeably slow and unwieldy to fly in combat, and thus, while some pilots may look down on the TIE bomber as less exciting to fly, those same pilots are nevertheless relieved to see a squadron of these sturdy craft dispatched to eliminate the capital ships that a squadron of fighters or interceptors can only harass. It can be carefully used for dogfighting older pirate and rebel craft. Its lasers pack a punch against starfighters as well after all, but do not expect great success against any coordinated attacks against you, particularly from faster, more nimble craft. Before we proceed to the next task, we should rearm your ship with a new supply of warheads. You can do this via two methods. The first is via a boarding craft. Target Transport Omega 1 and press Shift B to order the craft to board your ship. Be sure to come to a full stop to allow the craft to dock with you. After a few seconds, you will slowly be reloaded. Boarding craft are mission dependent and may not always be available for use. The second, more reliable method is rearming via your mothership. In this case, you can either redock with the training platform or the Star Destroyer Implacable. Once docked, you can go to the warhead selection screen and rearm from there, or even choose a different type of ordnance. You will notice when choosing your warhead that there is a bracketed number next to each entry. This indicates the remaining available ammo in the hangar for this warhead type. Whilst many situations will give you the opportunity to redock with your assigned base or mothership to rearm and repair, there may be some cases where you'll still have to decide what you want to arm beforehand, as there will be no further opportunity to change or rearm in the field. By default, the best choice for the mission will always be assigned to you. When you have rearmed your ship and are ready to continue, head to the nav buoy designated Test to begin the next phase of this training.
This is 1, order acknowledged.
Okay then, let's continue and try something with a little more bite, shall we? A convoy of freighters has jumped in, this time escorted by a single Corellian corvette. Destroy both the convoy and the corvette. You may notice that the corvette is shooting down many of your torpedoes. Starships and stations will automatically attempt to shoot down any incoming ordnance directed to them or ships under their protection. How effective they are at this will depend on the craft. However, ships like corvettes and light frigates have superior point defense capabilities to larger starships, making them excellent for escort and screening duties in larger fleets. To get around this, you must either saturate the target with overwhelming waves of torpedoes, along with other bombers, or use the dumbfire method. Dumbfiring is the act of firing at a ship without targeting it. Another thing to remember is that as long as you have a larger ship targeted in your CMD, it will attempt to defend itself from any ordnance fired against it, regardless if you acquired a lock on it or not before firing. So press Alt-C to clear your CMD of any current target, or simply target a different craft that is not within your current field of view. If you have yet to destroy the corvette, then try this now. With faster, smaller targets like corvettes, dumbfiring can be quite difficult and requires precision aiming on your part. But remember that you also have your long-range lasers, and they should be sufficient to take out the corvette at range, albeit slowly. Well done. The convoy has been destroyed, and you will now have the quick opportunity to practice some dogfighting in the TIE bomber using your skills from previous training exercises. 3 C-95s have jumped in at different positions and are moving to engage you. Destroy them. Remember, the bomber's lasers outrange most other starfighters. Pressing E periodically to see who is targeting you may help you enter a head-to-head engagement where you can destroy your attacker before they are close enough to shoot you. Always attempt to engage more maneuverable fighters as far away as you can, as soon as your reticule turns green to indicate a good shot. Your lasers are much slower than those found on the fighter or interceptor, so this makes aiming harder when your lead time is greater. If you end up in a dogfight with enemy fighters, you will be at a distinct disadvantage in close quarters, so always try to take out the enemy at range. Oh dear, you're dead. But luckily this is just a simulator, so you will simply be popped back into a new craft. This allows you to continue the mission and learn from your mistakes. In the real world though, you will have no such protections, and losing your craft will mean an instant failure to the mission, or worse, death. Alright then, let's try a larger target now. An enemy Nebulon B-class frigate has just jumped in, so proceed to destroy it as you have with the other targets. We have also launched 2 additional TIE bombers to assist you. The Nebulon B is not quite as effective as the Corvette in its point defense, as its guns have a wider degree of spread, making it more inaccurate at range. All capital ships have varying degrees of spread, but the general principle is, the larger the gun, the more inaccurate it is at range. You can also target some subsystems of a capital ship and destroy them, even if their shields are still up. By pressing the comma or shift comma keys, you can cycle back and forth with the different subsystems, which are marked in green text at the bottom of the target in your CMD. If you fancy a challenge, try destroying one or more of the frigate's laser turrets, but bear in mind this can be quite difficult when you're being shot at, especially as you have no shields to absorb the incoming fire.
One order acknowledged.
Well done. The frigate has been destroyed. Capital ships and stations, just like starfighters, will regenerate their shields. Due to the greater capacity of these shields versus the firepower of a starfighter, however, you will frequently find, for all but the smallest of capital ships, that even massed starfighter laser fire cannot necessarily deplete the shields faster than they can regenerate. This is why the Imperial Navy makes use of the TIE bomber in devastating squadrons, as you have just seen. When a larger craft's shield collapse, you will see a brief energy surge surround the ship, and their shield recharge will be halted for a limited period of time. This is the window of time to damage or destroy it. The larger the craft, the longer it will take before their shields begin to recharge. A Corellian corvette, such as you have previously destroyed, might begin recharging in 20 seconds, whereas a Star Destroyer might take as long as 2 minutes to bring their shields back online. We have one final exercise for you to try. A pair of heavy assault frigates have just jumped in and is being supported by a handful of Z-95s as fighter escort. These ships have poor torpedo defense and are robustly armored. Use all means at your disposal to destroy them. We have launched 3 more TIE bombers to assist you.
This is 3. Using your target for attack.
Remember that torpedoes are just one type of warhead that can be used. Other types of ordnance include concussion missiles, a faster-moving missile designed to chase down hostile starfighters, heavy rockets, which are very slow but carry a much larger payload, and lastly, the space bombs. Space bombs rely purely on the speed of the craft launching them, which makes them extremely vulnerable to interception. However, a single space bomb can deal many times the damage of even a single heavy rocket, if launched at the bomber's maximum possible speed. Rockets can also benefit significantly from launching speeds, so if you have the opportunity to fire heavy warheads from a faster craft, this will increase these benefits correspondingly. The trade-off to powerful warheads is how many you can carry. The warhead launcher bay on a TIE bomber, for example, can accommodate 24 missiles or 16 torpedoes, but only 8 rockets and just 2 bombs. New warheads have been installed in your craft.
This is 9. Order acknowledged. Using your target for attack.
Mission objectives completed.
Well done. The assault frigates have been eliminated. You have now completed this training exercise. You may quit now, or stay and face a small fleet of starships to engage.
This is 1. Order acknowledged.
A rebel heavy cruiser is jumping in, escorted by 3 corvettes. Destroy the enemy fleet. As before, you will face occasional starfighter attacks, so remember to remain aware of your surroundings. You will also no longer be able to rearm via your mothership, as this will end the mission, so your only recourse is to rearm yourself via the boarding craft of Transport Omega-1. Different starships occupy certain roles within a fleet, and you will encounter a wide variety of different starships with their own strengths and weaknesses. In organized fleet combat, these roles complement each other. Observe as you engage this rebel fleet how their corvettes are in a screening formation in front of the cruiser, firing at nearby fighters and intercepting torpedoes. The cruiser itself has a large hangar bay and heavy battleship-grade cannons, able to devastate smaller capital ships if it gets close enough. However, at long ranges, the cruiser is very inaccurate. Destroying a primary command ship of an enemy fleet is often a good way to cause any remaining elements to surrender or retreat. However, a good fleet doctrine will make sure that the flagship is properly defended.
Good work. You have successfully learned how to defeat larger starships, how to bypass their defenses, as well as the different roles these ships can serve in any given environment. Understanding this is key in order to gauge the current dynamics of the battlefield when one or more starships are present. Now it's time to combine all you've learned with the next and final training mission. Get to it, pilots.